This is the second of what I think will be 3 videos, just walking you through the syllabus to Business 503, Economics for Managers. I see it's listed as Fall 2014. We're going to be together, actually January 2015. Anyway, the way the TBL approach to learning is going to work is that before class, you all work to master the material on your own. And this is going to consist of reading the chapters. The way I think about this course is we've got 4 weeks together. The first week is your intensive preparation for our class meetings. We're going to have then a big chunk of face-to-face class time, 14 hours straight. We'll sleep overnight on Friday, wherever we have arranged to do that. Get up and just have a marathon day Saturday. And then, so we're going to, we don't have a prep a little meet, prep a little meet, prep a little meet rhythm. You're going to do a massive amount of preparation, and then we're going to spend almost 2 full days meeting, and I'll break those days up into Module 1, then Module 2, Module 3. In this coming week, you are going to prep for Modules 1, 2, and 3. That's going to involve reading carefully chapters 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beforehand, we're skipping chapter 4. It's a good chapter, but we got to make sacrifices here. Anyway, the first part of it, you work hard at home to master the material as best you can. That's an honest effort. You're not going to come out of that knowing everything, but you're going to come out of that ready to learn a bunch in what we're going to do in class. So what we do in class, at the very beginning of each module, I'm going to sit you all down, and we're going to go through what's called this readiness assurance process. And that has several steps to it. First off, you guys take an individual quiz, and there's skin in the game, as I mentioned. That counts, and you do your best. I'm shooting for questions that are easy if you've read the material hard. Otherwise, they won't all be easy, even if you've read carefully. Don't worry about that. The main thing is to have made the attempt to prepare as well as possible. Then I'm going to have the team take that same exact quiz, but together, and both these are open book, open note. God, I take that back. Now, let me say that again. Both of these are open note, closed book. So when you're reading, when you're doing your prep, take careful notes. I will let you reference those notes while you take the IRAT and the GRAT. I call them IRAP and TRAP, but anyway, that's my own notation. So there's that act of taking notes as you read is actually a part of learning this material and retaining it. You have to process it before you can write it down in your notes in your own words. Don't just copy the book, by the way. Write it out in your own words. All right. Anyway, so these 2 quizzes, and I would argue that most of the learning, or at least much of the learning in class about basic concepts happens during this group readiness assurance test, the TRAP, as I call it, the Team Readiness Assurance Process. I will do my best. I have a little homemade sort of Scantron approach, so I'm grading the individual tests while you guys are taking the group tests. And then I think I'll be able to quick grade the group test. Not as important, but I do want to get a sense of what people know and what they're struggling with by, in real time, real quickly. And I also want to give you a sense of how well you're doing or otherwise. So too. Then what we'll do is after that team test, I'm going to give you some time for team appeals. And these appeals, I have a form for that. The appeals can be based on the grounds that there are either no answers, no right answers, 2 right answers, That can be one ground, or that the question that I ask you in that readiness assurance process, I'm asking you to know things that I can't reasonably expect you to know. So if I ask you something that doesn't appear till chapter 12, say, and I put that on the chapter 4 quiz, or actually chapter 4 is the one we're not doing, chapter 5, 6, module 2 quiz, then you can appeal that. And then successful appeals, oh, by the way, the appeals are actually open book and open note. So for the appeals, you can say, if you're trying to make an argument that there are 2 right answers, having the text and the Farnham's explanation of the right answer right in front of you is helpful. And anyway, the appeal can be submitted. If you are awarded by me, I'm sort of the all-powerful king and judge here, but I'm pretty fair, I think you'll find, I hope you'll find. Anyway, I like good challenges. Anyway, if you are successful in your challenge, I will award you the point for the question that you're disputing. Note that you have to have gotten it wrong on the readiness assurance process test if you want me to award you that on the appeal. But I will actually give you a bonus point. If you got the question wrong on the group test and you appeal successfully, I will give you 2 points. One, for the test question, I'll give you those points, and a bonus point for making a worthy appeal. If you got it right on the team test, but still make a good appeal, I will just give you that 1 point, that bonus point. And then with that, I will talk through the concepts that have been revealed to be difficult. So I do give these mini lectures. I give them at the end of the readiness assurance process, and I'll give them, I try to make them pretty short, but after various application exercises, if teams have missed some of the key points, I will chime in with the key points that I think the teams have missed. It's amazing, though. Teams that are working hard actually, within their own discussion, the discussion among the teams that I do at the end of each application phase, application exercise, that discussion actually fleshes out an amazingly high share of the important points on any given topic. So it's pretty impressive, actually. And anyway, so I will talk over concepts that have been revealed to be difficult, but the concepts that were in the reading and 80 to 90% of you nailed on the quizzes, well, you know those. I'm not going to waste your time by talking you through those. But the stickier concepts I will go over with short explanations coming out of that readiness assurance process. But you don't need me to tell you a definition or read you a definition that was in the text. What I focus on is giving you examples. All right, and then what will actually take up most of our class time is in this phase 3. And these are team application phase. I call them TAPs. I think the material on team-based learning calls them something else. But I've chopped up the material into these conceptual questions. They're going to look a little bit like the homework. They'll definitely look a lot like the test questions that you'll get. I will. They actually are very similar to the end of chapter examples. The end of chapter problems. You'll notice Farnham has technical problems, and then he has application problems that are like case studies. And I will do a mixture of both for each module. And then I'll have teams do those exercises and produce concise answers to the questions I pose. I'll then have the teams declare their answers, and I'll have a reporter for each team discuss, and then I'll chime in if necessary. There's actually just a ton of learning, and the learning happens most when you are trying to explain, and it doesn't, hopefully you're getting it right, but even if you're explaining or trying to explain and getting it wrong, actually you're learning just a whole lot more than if you're just sitting there listening to me talk it through. So this is the way we're going to do it. you'll see our first day together, we should be able to do all of Module 1 and maybe even start Module 2 by during that first day's class. The one more thing you ought to know about how this team-based learning works, at the end of the semester, I have each student assess her team member's performance. And I don't really care about your assessment of each other's economic knowledge. I care about your assessment of each other's work as a team member. And I will weight the points on the team portion of the course. The next screencast is going to talk about what the work of the course consists of. It's in the syllabus, you can read it too, but I'll give you a brief flyby in the next screencast. Anyway, I want to know your assessment of your teammates' level of preparation. You will know if you've got a teammate that's coming in prepared or not. And if you've got a teammate that's coming in unprepared, I want you to hammer that teammate, quite frankly. That teammate should be rated low. How did that person contribute to the team? Did they contribute? They don't have, by this, I don't mean they came in with the right answers. No, absolutely not. I mean they put forward an answer to a question or an idea for discussion. And when somebody else put forward an idea, they helped think it through. But being right has nothing to do with this. It's a willingness to contribute and a good faith effort. But if a good faith effort, getting everything wrong, that deserves a high rating. Somebody that's just sitting back, I had an undergraduate who just laid his head on the table during team interactions, and that's not a very good contribution. Respect for others' ideas. A big part of what we're learning in these courses is how to work with each other. Let's say somebody put forward an idea that's just terrible. That we all do it, right? You want to create an environment where we are all free to put forward ideas and then beat them around. And sometimes we come out of that saying, "Oh, yeah, that really was a bad idea." But the fact is, there's going to be some times where you just say, "Well, what about this?" And you think it's crazy, but by golly, it turns out to be the right thing. Or at least if it isn't the right thing, we want to have that exercise of talking through why it's not the right thing. And then finally, hopefully teams are working hard and bringing multiple perspectives. And, one of the worst characteristics of a team member is one who's always got to be right. It's, I have the right answer. I'm going to pout if the team decides against me. It's going to happen that sometimes I have the right answer and the team in the discussion moves to a different answer. That turns out to be wrong. That happens. If I'm going to remind the team every time in a hostile way, and have a chip on my shoulder the rest of the class period or the rest of the semester, well, that's not being a good team member, and I would expect your teammates to rate you low on that. I will say, with time, you will learn who on the team tends to be right most of the time, and I would expect you to listen to that person, and if you keep ignoring that person and keep getting it wrong, well, that's team dysfunction too. So this is an art, and it's an art you need practice to get right. Finally, the way I do this is I give each team member 10 points to assign. Well, let's say there's 4 team members. I give each team member 30 points, and you can assign those 30 points across the other 3 individuals, however you care to do that. Somebody averages a 12, I'm going to give them 120% of the team points. Somebody averages an 8, I'm going to give them 80% of the team points. Something you should know is anybody scoring less than a 7 fails the course, period. I don't care if you got 100% on the individual grades. If you get rated less than 7 out of 10 by your teammates, you're coming unprepared, you're being a jerk in the discussions, I'm sorry, you fail the course, and I'm pretty rigid about that, and that you got to know that. So that's out there too.